My name's Patrice. I'm the owner of Empowerment Within LLC in Heartland, Wisconsin. I'm a mental health therapist, and I primarily see people who have a trauma history, anxiety, perfectionism, people pleasing, any kind of appeasement response to taking care of others, often at the sacrifice of themselves. And today I want to talk a little bit about anxiety and often what we try to do when we're feeling anxious and why that doesn't really work that well for us. So, when we are starting to feel really anxious about a situation that's unfolding in front of us, we often try to grasp onto it and figure it out. It's kind of this idea that if I can figure out why this is happening or what's triggering this or what's going on, then I'm going to have a sense of control over it, which is often what anxiety tells us, right? Anxiety is a survival-based emotion, and so it starts to turn on the fight or flight system within our brain and body to get us ready to act and take care of whatever danger is in front of us. And the hard part about the brain is that there is no difference between perceived threat and real threat. A threat is just a threat, and a threat means it's a life or death situation that your brain and body are trying to prepare you for, because their first goal is always, always, always to keep you safe. So, when we're sitting with anxiety, when we start engaging and trying to figure it out, there's a couple of problems. The first is that we don't really have access to the part of our brain that can see things clearly, that has perspective, that can look at different pieces at the same time. We have access to our emotion brain, which is hyper focused on one thing, and all it's trying to do is keep you safe. And so our perspective can get really skewed when we're very anxious. And the other issue with trying to figure out anxiety when it's going on is that when we are starting to feel anxious, and then we're adding judgment and the trying to figure it out on top of it, we're adding anxiety to our anxiety. And so we're just starting to ruminate in a circle without any real kind of resolution. So a couple of keys within this is that when you are feeling kicked up and your anxiety is starting to really get the best of you, or you can feel it starting to grow within your body, working on calming the body is usually the best way to take your first step forward. This can be through deep breathing exercises, bilateral music that goes back and forth, calming touch. So some people get really anxious in their chest, and one thing I recommend is just putting your hand where you're feeling anxious, maybe both, and just breathing in and out of that place to help it calm down a little bit. So the goal is you're supporting your body in calming down rather than trying to figure it all out right in that moment. And then there's always a time and a place for the figuring it out. And so when we are able to then be in a more calm and emotionally regulated state, we have access to our full brain, and we can use those functions of the top brain that anxiety turns off to help us problem solve and understand. And a lot of times this is going to get us a deeper exploration of what came up and what brought that on. In the moment it might be, well, this person said this and it means this about me. And when we're a little bit more calm, we can look at that situation and go, wow, I was feeling like this person had said this and it meant this about me. Where is that coming from? What is spiking that up? How do I explore and sit with that a little bit more to understand what I'm holding within me that's causing this to feel like such a life or death moment? And so when we have access to the whole brain and we're not trying to figure it out in the moment, we have that greater perspective, and we can often be much more self-compassionate to what's surfacing rather than judging ourselves for feeling anxious about a situation. So the next time you are feeling your anxiety kick up, work on shifting your goals from figuring it out and fixing it in the moment to how do I calm and care for my body so that I can calm down. And then when I'm in a time and space where I can be more reflective and have a greater perspective and I'm a little bit more calm, I can look at the situation and see what was really coming up for me and what I need to do to take care of that.